I've read a myriad of fucking theories today about, what was it, the Kristen Dome? Is that?
No, that's all nonsense.
Okay, so that's not real? We're not trying to bring Christ together through the Pope, or?
No, this isn't the fucking Jesus Caliphate being brought back across Northern Europe and fucking Eurasia or whatever you want to call it. No, it's stupid.
All right, so what is the real reason here to do this, other than you have a weak leader in the White House, and you can at this point?
Well, that's part of it. So here, there are three reasons why this is happening now. The first reason is that we have been encroaching on the standoff area of the former Soviet Union, even cannibalizing 3 of their former countries into NATO for the last 30 years, as you can see from this picture right here. So on the left, 1990, right before the wall fell, right before USSR fell, that's NATO. On the right is 10 years later, or 19 years later.
Okay.
Right, where we've added quite a few new countries to NATO, including ones that border Russia directly, right? Latvia and...
Which Ukraine does.
Yeah, but Ukraine's not NATO, although we did extend... So Ukraine is the largest and most powerful country in that area that isn't NATO other than Russia right now. And it's the last foothold that Russia really has. It's why they've made incursions into Crimea. It's why they've taken rebel-controlled territories on the eastern coast of Ukraine. If Russia came here and, I don't know, let's say they tried to set up missile silos in Cuba, we'd probably have something. Oh, that did happen.
Oh, it did happen,
And
yeah.
we did have something to say about that, right?
Yep.
We sent a fucking blockade down there that almost led to World War III.
The Bay of Pigs.
Yeah, well, that was a separate operation, but yeah, I mean, we definitely tried military action as well. So that's the first one. The first one is that we've been encroaching on their standoff area for a long time now, putting Jupiter missiles all over Europe and all kinds of shit. Number two is that the United States and Germany have severely limited their energy production and self-reliance over the past year just to satisfy the woke green retards in their respective countries, and now all of us depend on Russia for fuel. So in 2019 and 2020, the United States was the largest exporter of oil in the entire world, right? Mm-hmm. Now we buy 500, almost 600,000 barrels a day from Russia.
Why? It doesn't make any sense.
Because it's the whole thing with this green argument. It's like we're fucking ostriches. We put our head in the sand. If we're not doing it, then that means it's not getting done, so we're saving the environment, which is a load of horse shit in the first place, but that strategy for it is really fucking stupid. Because we need it still. We need natural gas and we need oil still, and we will for some time. It's actually quite a bit worse in Germany. So, excuse me. Germany has been systematically shutting down its nuclear power facilities. Nuclear, by the way, is the best solution for energy in the 21st century until we have some kind of major advance in the ability to store solar energy. Until then, nuclear is, by and large, the best option we have. Germany, over the past less than a year now, I think, over the past maybe 6 months, has shut down 3 of its 6 remaining nuclear power plants, and it plans on shutting the other 3 down before the end of this year. And now 60 to 70% of their energy comes from fucking Russia. Natural gas pipelines, the Nord Stream 2, which, by the way, Trump had a fucking sanction in place on that bitch. Mm-hmm. And Biden, one of the first things he did when he came into office was kill the fucking pipeline in here in the States and then fucking remove the sanctions from the Nord Stream. He created this situation almost unilaterally. And now here we are, right? And the third reason is because Biden is weak and feckless. He's a dummy, and Putin is a wolf, right? And wolves wait until the prey is weak, and then they fuck them up. And that's exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah, and a lot of people on CNN, your boy Stelter in particular, was saying, Trump's out there praising Putin for everything that's going on. He's praising him for everything. No, what he's saying is, if you're going to take advantage of somebody, now is the time to do it. You had a shitty pullout in Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. You look weak as a nation. You're certainly not going to get in a fight in the middle of fucking winter in Russia. And then he has a press conference today for the nation saying what he isn't going to do.
Yeah.
And essentially what he said, just to sum it up, was we've got sanctions in place and he's a bad guy and blah, blah, blah. But we're also not going to do anything unless he starts invading other countries. So therefore, you're just willing to give up Ukraine as a sacrifice? Like everybody is? Because that's what it seems like.
The Ukraine is none of our business. Now, this could have been prevented by Biden not doing any of this shit. And I don't know if you noticed in the media the last couple of days, gas price rises were attributed to the Ukraine crisis. Sorry, bro. That shit happened a long time before that. When Biden took office in January, 23rd of last year, I think crude oil prices were like $55 a barrel. Before this Ukraine crisis started, it was $95 a barrel. And it's gone up to 100 now, but it was already 95, bitch. Like he did all of this. Bob, pull up that other video on Twitter of Trump addressing some people about exactly this and how we can't allow this to happen, right? And I think is that Pompeo sitting next to him? I don't even know the date.
It is.
Yeah, it's Pompeo
to the right. Yeah.
I don't know the date of this exactly, but Trump is addressing some foreign leaders and dignitaries here. Play that.
What's the other flag in there?
People were pissed off about this.
Is that a NATO flag?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, it might be. Anyway, here goes.
Yeah, it's a NATO flag.
I think it's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries, and then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate? I mean, I've been complaining about this from the time I got in. It should have never been allowed to have happened. But Germany is totally controlled by Russia because they were getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia and a new pipeline. And you tell me if that's appropriate, because I think it's not. And I think it's a very bad thing for NATO, and I don't think it should have happened. And I think we have to talk to Germany about it. On top of that, Germany is just paying a little bit over 1%, whereas the United States, in actual numbers, is paying 4.2%.
That's of the GDP.
Of a much larger GDP. So I think that's inappropriate also. You know, we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting everybody, and yet we're paying a lot of money to protect. Now, this has been going on for decades. This has been brought up by other presidents, but other presidents never did anything about it because I don't think they understood it or they just didn't want to get involved. But I have to bring it up because I think it's very unfair to our country. It's very unfair to our taxpayer. And I think that these countries have to step it up, not over a 10-year period. They have to step it up immediately. Germany is a rich country. They talk about they're going to increase it a tiny bit by 2030. Well, they could increase it immediately tomorrow and have no problem. I don't think it's fair to the United States. So we're going to have to do something because we're not going to put up with it. We can't put up with it. And
unfortunately, this happened towards the end of his tenure. It's funny, Bolton has
But he got killed for this. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he got lit up for saying all this stuff.
He got murdered for saying all this.
And Bolton has been in the fucking press this week saying, Putin was just waiting for Trump's second term to do this anyway. It was going to happen. No, the fuck it wasn't, right? Like, the plan was to sanction the fuck out of Russia, stop the Nord Stream 2 pipeline in its tracks. And now you're seeing the fruition of this German collusion with Russia. That's exactly what's happening. And it's collusion either through intent or through fucking cowardice. The UK and the US and a number of other countries right now want to block SWIFT transactions from being accessible to Russia, right? So international banking primarily between Russia and the West would be cut off. Germany says no. Why? Because 60 to 70% of their energy comes from fucking Russia. Mm-hmm. That's why. Russia has them by the short hairs, and there isn't a goddamn thing they can do about it because of weak leadership.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is only going to continue. Paging Taiwan. If I'm China right now, I do the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
What's to stop you? Like, who's going to stop you? A stern talking to? A bunch of fucking dipshit leaders on Twitter condemning the acts?
Taiwan's a bit of a different story because I do think we have a legal obligation to assist them.
Do we really?
Yeah. But we don't with Ukraine. So that's an out I mean, that's what Biden is talking about today. If they don't come into an actual NATO country, then we're not going to do anything. If you look at a map of NATO countries that border Russia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania are all there. Poland is a NATO country, and technically Russia has been using Belarus airspace and their fucking ground space to launch attacks from the north into Ukraine, so Belarus is compromised as well. And then just west of there, you have Poland, you have Slovakia, you have Romania, and you have Hungary, right? So that is the red line, in my opinion, right now, if you want to talk about what might happen next. What will happen next is that Russia will try to use measured attacks to put a lot of pressure on Zelensky, make him look weak, force him out of office, into hiding, to resign, and then they will install their own leader there, as they did previously. Like, this is nothing new. This is the Russian fucking game plan. And then, we'll see after that if he wants to make another move or not. There's still, there's still some other stuff that can happen.